run a parish. So, John Heinz, welcome. Could you tell me a little bit about your experience that you had working in the missions in Bolivia?
Absolutely. I got to the second term as a pastor of a parish, and just wanted to do something else, so I had permission to go study in Cochabamba, Bolivia, with the Marinos. A little bit of Spanish. My Spanish is terrible. And so I went down and studied there, living with the friars there, and while I was down there, the provincial, the Franciscan boss down in Bolivia asked me if I would consider giving a hand to the project they just wanted to start. And they served in a city high up the mountains called Sucre. They served in a basilica that had been Franciscan now for 400 years. Conventual Franciscans, you know, advanced before us. And they wanted to start out of this basilica, they wanted to start out as a little soup kitchen.
Extiende sus brazos, el creador de los cielos. El Señor es mi rey, mi todo. El Señor es mi luz, mi rey.
And so I visited Sucre, this basilica, and they had a little old church that was a mission for the basilica that they wanted to convert into a soup kitchen. So I started, with their permission, with the permission of our minister provincial here in California, I started. And that was about 4 years of work I had down there. We developed a program. We taught the local volunteers at the basilica how to run a food soup kitchen, and we expanded it out. We opened a healthcare center with doctors for kids. We started a program for women trying to escape familial violence with their children, and so we had an intensive program for them to help them through that time of transition. We had an educational program. The kids we were serving were actually campesinos. They were the country folk, and they would come down out of the mountains and come into the city of Sucre looking for work, the families, and they'd bring their kids and their elderly with them. So we would help serve these people. Most of them didn't speak a whole lot of Spanish. That was one of our deals, was to try and teach these kids a little bit of Spanish so they could get caught up in school, and they would have a little bit of a better chance of writing.
El Señor es mi rey, mi todo. El Señor es mi luz, mi rey. El que me hace vibrar de gozo.
High in protein, minerals, and vitamins. To see that their health was attended to, that they could have access to health care. To see that they got the tutorial needed to move up in school, to come up to the level that they should have been in their respective cohorts, their educational cohorts. And we just had a number of different programs. A sacramental catch-up program. Many of these kids had not had baptism, not had First Communion. Many of these kids did not even have legal papers. So we got a lawyer on staff, and we started to get their legal papers so that they could access what minimal social services are available in Bolivia.
So when you said they didn't have legal papers, they were never recorded as being born in the country?
Never recorded as being born in the country.
Wow.
So you could almost say they were illegal.
Wow.
But they were definitely living in Bolivia. And so we developed that over the 4 years. I would have had the privilege of serving there as the director of La Casa de San Antonio. When I left, we were serving a little over 200 people, lunch every day, and had all of these programs up and running. Most importantly, what we did is we trained the indigenous kids, the volunteers there, how to run this, and we hired staff that was... exactly how the money had been spent. That was probably
so accountability wasn't
26 friars in the province, the Bolivian province. About half of them are missionaries from Poland. The other half are indigenous vocations that have come to the province over the last,
and could you tell me an experience that was probably your most fruitful, most fulfilling experience, and maybe some of the difficulties that you faced?
well, the difficulties were the extreme poverty.
Can you give us an example?
We would go and visit homes of the people where the children we served. Most of these kids had homes, they weren't homeless, but they were living in mud huts that were thrown up on the outside of town, outside of Sucre. And so these would be huts with no running water, no electricity, none of that. It would just be some bricks and some corrugated metal and many of the folks were too shy to come and ask for help. And so we would go out to visit one family to verify that they needed our assistance, and we'd find maybe 2 or 3 other families that were just extraordinary need for medical attention. How touched they were that people from outside actually cared, and that meant to them so much more than just you know, some beans and some bread and whatever we could give them.
That you actually came?
Yeah, that somebody was there.
Wow.